having skin issues. And with that, a lot of people with eczema also have asthma. So I had asthma. I was dust and, you know, got really bad hay fever, low level asthma, not debilitating at all. But that was conscious of my immunity. And then on top of that, as I got into my late 20s and early 30s, I've never been fat, never been unhealthily overweight, but I was just a little heavy. I just felt uncomfortable in my skin, frankly. I looked beans. So I was battling with those three things. So, you know, my skin, immunity issues, and just a little bit of extra weight. I battled that for, you know, the best part of a decade. So as I was approaching my, and then I segued from music to luxury lifestyle segued to health and beauty, and I started working with health and beauty brands. So I was, love food, big fan of food. And I really thought, now is the time that I really want to deal with this stuff. I really want to deal with the physicality and feel as good as I possibly could while I was a young woman. So I really started focusing on my own health and nutrition. And I found myself in Los Angeles providing some on-camera health and beauty content, and I decided to be integrative nutrition, so that I had more knowledge to share out with my own personal journey.
Wow. So basically, just through your own journey and your experiences, you saw there was a need to educate yourself on what was needed within the wellness, what to eat. It's I'm sure you agree, your mind, what you eat is all connected. Your state of mind, your nutrition, how you exercise. I think a lot of people in this season have gone crazy exercising, but different exercises are good for you to relax. You don't have to be burning rubber in order to lose weight. So
absolutely, I'm calling it exercise, start calling it movement, and do it every single day. So I move every single morning. If you day and you've got a busy life, that means you can't do it for very long, right? So the key 10 to 20 minutes, but I do it every day. I make it a non-negotiable. I'm therefore up for failure because everyone has 10 to 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, of course.
Gear on, but you actually have a few minutes every morning to move, and that is stretching, yoga moves, Pilates move, free weights, bit of cardio. So I do that every single day, and that is absolute key to everything.
Because right now, I mean, I can only speak for the season we're in. A lot of people, it's mental health. I had a lady on there last night, who was dealing with mental health expert, and you know, I believe exercise or any movement makes you feel good, isn't it? You know, your endorphins start to move about when you do something. So I think, I agree. Some sort of exercise on a daily basis is important. Definitely important.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got the oxygen going to your head. One of the things I say to all my clients is, as soon as you get up in the morning, just do a stretch, hang your head heavy, send that blood to your head. It's actually therapy. I mean, there is sort of standing up and therapies, literally. But also it's going to send the blood to your skin and your hair. So it's really.
And do you think, like everyone says, you have to, I'm terrible at it at times. My other half drinks a lot of water. Being American, they drink lots of water. I don't know if that's a difference, but he's always drinking water. He's a fountain. Is water our fuel?
Well, I wouldn't say it's our fuel. It's certainly part of the story. So obviously it's, you know, is really key, but also being in an alkaline state. So there are a few sort of things that you want to think about when you think about your general wellness. And you want to manage your inflammation, because inflammation is at the root of all disease. You want to have a really good balance between alkaline and acid. Water is alkalizing, and there are loads of other things that are very acidic. So drinking excess alcohol, processed foods, meat, stress in itself are both alkalizing and inflammatory. So if you can do just, if you just sort of think about keeping those things in balance, and obviously being deep, really well hydrated. So yes, the Americans know a thing or two about drinking water, and it does make a lot of
Yes,
sense.
they do.
Rene, you want to be thinking about 8 glasses of water a day, preferably pure, still, room temperature water.
Okay.
So none of the sparkling.
No. No, none of the sparkling, unless you're having a treat, but the still water is the better, yeah.
Hydration, it's still room.
Mm. And speaking about, I've heard a lot about the alkaline balance, and I've read lots of papers from various people who talk about wellness. And alkaline and inflammation is really quite serious with regards to disease. And I didn't realize the significance. If you've got inflammation in your body and mucus, it's actually quite damaging. Am I right in saying that?
I mean, I don't care whether you're talking about premature wrinkles, or you're talking about acne, or you're talking about, heart disease. Dis-ease, at the core of dis-ease is inflammation. So that's something that is really worth focusing on. And there are so many ways to bring down your inflammation and also up your anti-inflammatories. So, I mean, one of the worst culprits for inflammation is stress. That's a tough one right now. We're all living in really stressful times, and it's very hard to manage. But it's very hard to avoid, but you can manage it. So if you can manage levels, there are so many different ways of going in that, doing that. But one of the things that I think is really helpful is just that deep, conscious breathing. And people talk about meditation and think it's very difficult. It isn't. It's actually just about being present. You don't have to light candles or sit on a yoga mat. It's about being present. So if you can be present, focus on your breath, deep, conscious breathing, and that's just going to make everything instantly better. Calm everything, lower your heart rate, and that's really going to help. If you can avoid excess alcohol, I drink alcohol. I'm not one of these people that says don't drink. I think
Correct.
choose your poison, and the clue is in the name. So you don't want too much of it. Mine is red wine. It is not healthy in and of itself, but it does have health benefits.
That's
So
correct.
rich in the antioxidant resveratrol, which is good for your skin. Drinking nothing is always better than drinking everything, just purely from a sort of physiological perspective. But I think, we're thinking holistically, and if it's something joy, I think, why not? But the key is to have one glass, right? Also, whatever your thing is, some people do tequila, some people do gin and tonic, whatever your thing is, one glass. We are very, we all know about units now. For
Yes.
to avoid, you don't want to drink more than 14 units a week. But what we don't know is how many units are in our glasses. And quite often, 2.5, 3 units in every drink. And so, I ask my clients to reframe it and think of it a little bit like dessert. So you might order a dessert in a restaurant, even though you kind of know you shouldn't, but you're not going to order or 3. So you've got to think of alcohol in a way. You've got to think of alcohol in a similar. So it's about having one glass. Choose the best you can, put it in the most fabulous glass you can, and try it and stick to one glass. And that's the game changer. And then the good news about alcohol and issues is the liver can have a little mini cleanse really quite quickly. It can regenerate. It's one of those organs. It's so vital for everything, obviously. Everything is metabolized through the liver. But it also is an organ that is very easily healed. So, not drinking alcohol for 3 days a week, preferably consecutive days, is really helpful as a little kind of mini cleanse. But as soon as you don't drink alcohol for a month, your liver starts to regenerate. So that is the good news about it. Other things you can do to lower your inflammation is avoid refined sugar.
Yes.
Highly inflammatory and processed foods. And then to help bring it down, proactively in terms of adding in anti-inflammatories. So omega-3 is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatories, and I suggest everybody should take an additional omega-3, certainly, you know, from late 30s. So avoiding refined sugar, limiting alcohol, avoiding processed food, adding in a powerful anti, like a really good omega-3, and trying to manage all of the crazy stress that's coming at us.
And you know, you said some really profound things. I think stress is like a silent thing, isn't it? People think or feel they're not stressed, but actually their body is, I call it the swan effect. You know, you're strolling on the lake and looking regal, and underneath things are happening. And people don't know that. They feel okay, they might look okay, but inside they're dealing with a lot of stuff. People have been homeschooling and they've never had to do that, never had their babies. Not saying there's anything wrong with babies, I love them, but around them every moment of the day. That's stressful, having to deliver, you know, deadlines, and the list goes on. And then the fear of wondering whether this thing is going to capture us. So I think stress has been one of the hardest things people have tried to manage. And I think one of the things I've noticed in this season is that it's okay for you to say that you're not feeling okay. The dangerous thing is when you pretend that you're not stressed or you're okay, actually letting it out, crying, yoga, relaxing, to try and manage it. Because people pretend, and it's a taboo to feel stress, isn't it? I want to be strong all the time. Am I right?
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think we are getting better about dealing with mental health issues and owning up to them, and then owning them, which is great. And I do really encourage people now. You know, I have a lot of clients that say, oh God, I put on a few pounds. And of course we want people to be a healthy weight, but actually most people, especially my clients, you know, that are really trying to go from okay to good or from good to great, a couple of pounds is not the end of the world. I really encourage people to think of their health in a truly holistic way. And actually sometimes we have to look after our mental health more than we need to focus on, you know, our waistline sometimes. And that's up to keep everything in balance, but it's also about reframing what comfort is. So a lot of people are struggling with their weight because they're going for comfort food, for example, right? So they're like, I want to open the packet of biscuits or the bag of potato chips. And I say, what we don't need you to do with everything else you've got to deal with is beat yourself up, especially for, you know, food is often carrot and stick. It's pleasure and pain. What we do to commiserate, right? We beat us and we cheer ourselves on with it. And I encourage people to really reframe what that means. First of all, food is not a thing, right? You're in charge. It's not it's not a person. You are in charge. So taking that power back over food and your decisions about that, I think, is really helpful. And then reframing what comfort is. Sometimes I might want a tub of ice cream, but could I really need a real chat with a real friend? Could I really hot bath some beautiful candles? Could I really need some fresh, beautiful flowers that I can look at and bring me joy? Do I really need to crank that music up and dance around the kitchen?
That's right.
So thinking, having consciousness around that and reframing that is really helpful.
I love that. It's really, I mean, I wonder what the audience thinks. I think we do get into a cycle, and you know, you mentioned, and also there's men that go through pain and breakups. You tend to look for things that make you feel better. Okay. So when you do have, sadly, something goes wrong, you put on music, but don't find the song that makes you feel worse. Put the song that the Michael Jackson or the Bee Gees, something to lift your spirits. At this time, I'm a musician, so I've always got music on, and that's the energy, and that keeps my spirits and my positivities high. But we are human beings where we could have a moment for a second. So I've been detoxing from the news. I don't watch it all the time. I kind of watch it once a day because I have to find out what's going on. But I don't get absorbed by it, because that can be quite negative, can't it? It's downloaded into your spirit.
Yes, exactly. Download into your spirit. I think that's so true. You've got to be armed. I mean, I'm a bit of a current affairs junkie, actually, and because States, I was very focused on everything that was going on there. But what I do, because I wanted the information, I really had to then do things that would support my health and wellness so that I could manage that and balance that out. So food, that's with movement, that's with supplementation, that's with thought, that's with connection. But I think in these times where it's just so difficult and so challenging, we've got to every day that support our holistic wellness. I was saying to somebody just, while we're at home or working from home, we're not getting all those little, all that external stuff coming at us that kind of gives us a little spark, gives us a little bit of a joy. So I think we have to redefine what special is, right? Special occasion, because if we're waiting for a special occasion to feel good, we're going to be waiting for. So I think do something for yourself every day. So for me, I get up, I do my morning, I do my little bit of meditation, I do my stretching, I do my morning movement. And then, after I showered, done whatever, I still put my earrings on and a spritz of perfume and a bit of lip gloss.
That's
just
correct.
Myself, because first of all, we're doing Zooms and things, on the days that we're not, you're seeing yourself, you're passing yourself in the mirror, you're going to the bathroom, and want to do things that support you. I also want to be in a state where we are, every day has got to feel special in some way, because
I like that.
Parties, the going out for dinner, that is maybe a long time coming. So we've got to little bit special. And one of the things that I'm obviously very focused on is skincare, both from a feeding your skin perspective. I do a lot of work around skin nutrition, but I have a skincare brand, and I think that it really sits at the intersection of health and beauty. So focusing on skincare is something that feels really empowering, and also it's really useful right now since we're having this sort of close-up exposure. Really focusing on your skincare now.
No, I love that. I want to speak to you about, I'm so in awe. We spoke and I've seen your brand on Instagram, and hello, Rene, didn't even realize it was yours. I was so embarrassed when we spoke. I'm so inspired by you. Congratulations. It's phenomenal. 79 skincare. So let's talk about that. We're going to go back into health and wellness, but what happened? How did you go, right, I'm going to create this skincare brand? You launch it. What happened? What was the journey on that?
Well, again, it really came from my own issues with having eczema. And so I'm a little bit of a skincare expert because I've been trying to find the right thing for my own skin conditions all my life. So not only did I have the eczema and the sensitive skin, but to that I then added, I was then getting older. So then I had mature skin. So it's like, well, how are you dealing with the skincare of somebody in their late 40s, as well as all of the other issues? And then, I like a bit of luxury as well, right? So
of course you do. Yes, definitely.
Luxury, British made, skincare brand, that, efficacy was right at the top of the list. Sustainability was really important. Transparency was really important. So I thought, well, how can I, so I was on search for all of those things, and I couldn't find it. I found brands that were good, but I couldn't find anything that I thought was really exceptional. So I went about creating it. Now, I have worked with other brands and helped development with other brands, and so I had a lot of experience in this area. I knew who to start talking to, but I really created it for myself and also for my clients. And so 79 Lux was born almost 2 years ago. So January 2000. With one product, which was a body balm, which is deeply nourishing, really not greasy body balm. And it launched on Cult Beauty, available all over the world, and then it launched in Liberty of London a few months after that. Then we started creating a body oil because a lot of people love an oil. So the Gold was launched in August of last year, and then most came the hand cream. So, you know,
Yes, I've got this here. And you know what? It's very nourishing. It's like I put it on once and I'm fine. It's really nourishing. And
that's
it kind of puts a film, but not an uncomfortable film on your hands. Just it feels like it goes into the dermis, you know?
that is the idea. So we, you know, it's like we're all washing our hands like crazy, right? So we're washing
Yeah.
our hands, we're using sanitizer, you know, it's I have very dry skin on my hands anyway, but they become
Mm.
drier with all this.
Mm. Of course, every 5 seconds, yeah.
So I really wanted to, the hand cream had actually been developed last year, and we were going to wait until, you know, probably actually around now to launch it. But when lockdown happened, and I was looking for myself for something that was, you know, that needed to be a step above what I'd been using before, I just thought
Mm.
slightly, so it's a little bit more antimicrobial, which means
Mm-hmm.
replace hand sanitizer and washing, but it's just an extra layer. So say you've washed your hands and then you've opened the door, you don't know what you picked up there. You've got the hand cream on, so it's just going to give you another layer of protection. Um, so we made it a little bit more antimicrobial. We put it in a tube because although our packaging is typically biophotonic black violet glass to protect the ingredient.
Okay.
But this went in an aluminium tube because we needed people to be able to have it wherever they were,
Mm-hmm.
completely portable. And we just got it out there, and we just thought, you know, this is the time to add value. This is the time
Cool.
what they need most. So we just got it out there, launched in August, so it's almost brand new.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's, you know, it's really interesting, isn't it? You would never have guessed this was going to be a product that was exceptionally needed in this season because everyone's sanitizing and you need your hand cream. As much as you're putting the antibacterial and things, you need that. And to have the extra layer, as you said, when you are walking around, I think I'm more conscious of my movements than I've ever been. It's really unnatural our way we move now, isn't it? You get next to somebody and you move back and it's just like, wow, you touch the door handle and you're like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have. So your whole life is now more aware. You're aware than you've ever been, you know, in your journey every day.
Absolutely. So it's great
Mm.
if, you know, it's really good to be able to offer something that people, it just feels so current. It's what I need most now. And the ethos of the brand is really serious skincare for all of the skin on every body. So it's largely natural. Nothing that's on a shelf is entirely natural because it has to have some preservative in, but it's about
That's
that.
correct.
It is as organic as it gets. So in the balm, for example, 96% of the plant-based ingredients are organic. Um,
Wow.
and the idea is we're really feeding the skin. So my core business is about nourishing people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
9 Lux is about feeding the skin topically. We also have to feed it internally with the right
That's
nutrition,
correct. That's correct.
or the right gut health. But this is feeding it topically, and it all, you know, but it all in luxurious formulations.
That's wonderful. You know, talking about internally, food, there's so many, I don't want to call them diets, but so many different things that everybody's getting involved in, you know, ketos, then you've got the vegan world, which I use a lot of vegan products, so I'm not knocking it. I never know where to go. I think everything in moderation, that's kind of my mindset. You know, I have a bit of this, a bit of that. I don't fry food, I bake everything, I steam. So little bits, I don't drink milk, not knocking anyone that does. I don't drink tea or coffee. I've never had coffee in my life. I know I'm very odd, but I've never had it. So certain things I've never done. So I'm just kind of managing it. I do have a sweet tooth, which is really dangerous. So I'm trying to manage that and have alternatives to that experience. But you got to enjoy something. You know, you can sit there and have nothing on your plate and not have that experience of enjoying food, because I like food. Food is good. But where do you start? I just find it quite overwhelming at times.
Yeah, I think, you know, there are so many things out there, and of course you could go on forever, but just sort of in a bit of a nutshell, if it's not sustainable, if it's not attainable, then it's not sustainable, and if it's not sustainable, it's not going to work. So I think about things that are first sort of easy to access. So if there are diets that are really restrictive, you can only do it if you give up your friends, if you live on your own, if you never go to a restaurant,
Oh, no.
right? So then they're not,
Mm.
and therefore they're not sustainable, therefore they're not going to work. So I sort of, I have a similar philosophy to you, Rene. I think that balance in almost all things is the way to. So I don't give my clients, nor do I live by any particular diet or regime. I say eat mostly plant, and make it yourself. Have some connection to its origin. So in a we're growing all our food, right? But
Of course.
so then the next best thing is, well, it's locally sourced, you know where it's getting from. If you have the luxury, both financially and time, or you get things from the local farmers market, then get things that are in the UK that are at least grown in your country. Now, there are certain things that are never going to be grown in your country, and of course you have to, I'm not saying never eat a pineapple, but I am saying don't eat a pineapple in cold midwinter, because you've got to think about what grows around you, either literally or at least kind of, you've got some connection to it seasonally, is what thrives. And if it's going to thrive around you, then it's going to help you thrive. So first of all, start with what's local, start with what's seasonal. I'm very upset when I go to Waitrose and I see asparagus all year round. We should be okay. No, asparagus for a few months. But no, they fly it in from Peru. So, with asparagus, there's so many other green vegetables that are really good options. It's unnecessary. There are certain, it's really difficult, not to get. So I just raising the consciousness, both for our own health, and our holistic health, and the health of our planet around what we eat. And that is a really great place to start. I'm not vegetarian, but I do like to have lots of plants on my plate. I eat everything. Red meat, it very occasionally, like less than once a month. But I will eat fish much more often, and preferably wild, and lots of vegetables and pulses and a few grains. So I think that with most people, balance is key. Most people, there are some amino that come from flesh. Let's call it flesh, or so whether it's red meat, that support you in many ways. So I am not one of these people that says it's all got to be vegetarian, it's all got to be vegan, but certainly phytonutrients that come from plants are key. But in terms of eliminating or reducing things in your diet, certainly the idea of reducing refined sugar is going to be helpful for all of us. That is a universal.
Yeah. It's addictive. People don't realize, they think drugs and smoking, and it's absolutely addictive. Your body goes into literally a rejection when you're not eating to the degree that you're used to it. And people don't realize that it's actually really addictive, sugar.
But sugar,
most addictive thing.
Discovered, it would be a classified drug. I mean, it is absolutely addictive. In excess is at the root of a huge amount of health problems, and also premature aging, which is something that I obviously, I do a lot of work management. And so, sometimes it's quite hard to convince my clients to reduce the sugar when I'm concerned about blood sugar levels, potential diabetes. But actually, when they're using really fancy face creams and then diving into refined sugar, and they really understand that one of the fastest ways of aging prematurely is by ingesting large amounts of refined sugar, then quite often that is the leverage to stop.
They stop. And then what is an alternative, good version of sugar alternatives? I don't have sweeteners. I have Manuka honey. I have that in my herb tea. Is there anything else we can do just to get that
remember, there are sweeteners that are healthier than others, that are much healthier than sweet. So what we want to do is reduce our reliance on all things sweet slowly by just bringing it down. So because it's not that it's not that honey is so much healthier than regular granular sugar. It is just that honey, also good quality honey, Manuka honey, raw local honey, also comes with, wonderful, beautifully healthy enzymes, for example, that can support your general health. But in terms of all cells in your body act in the same way, so they're still going to expand in terms of weight management, for example. They're going to still expand in the same way to honey as they are to, a spoonful of sugar. Move to healthier options, but we don't want to think of them as complete alternatives. So it's not like you can just carry on just having it in excess. So certainly healthier options like raw honey, like Manuka honey, coconut syrup is lower on the glycemic index, which means it won't spike your blood sugar. Date syrup. So there are things that are healthier, but you still don't want them to excess. So anything is not particularly supportive in excess. But doing the swap and then slowly reducing it. So, for example, a lot of people are mad about chocolate, right? So you go for milk, full of refined sugar, and maybe you start at 60%. That is not where you want to end up. It's just will help you slowly reduce your addiction to the sweet. And then you go to 70%. Where you want to end up is 80%.
Of course.
It's a progression rather than thinking of it working out. Does that make sense?
No, that does make sense, because what the most dangerous thing about people who suddenly have to not quit but reduce it too quickly, they end up binging on it more, don't they? Their body's used to it, then they find alcohol or crisps and they go crazy, and then they literally get into a bad routine or feeling bad about the fact they ate that, and it's just a vicious cycle. So you should be able to have a bit of indulgence, but just be aware, and little by little it's not taking over your life effectively.
So for example, you're mad at potato chips, right? You want to open your bag. I will not tell that person to eat kale instead. What you do instead is you get some sweet potatoes, you chop them up, you put the oven on high, you sprinkle a load of olive oil over, bit of Himalayan or sea salt, chuck them in the oven. That's going to satisfy you. That's going to be much more efficient than eating kale. And then you can reduce the amount of times you do that. Now, doing that sort of thing, once a week, once every 2 weeks, absolutely nothing wrong with that anyway. But first of all, you want to do the swap, and then you want to reduce. You are crazy about, biscuits. They still do hobnobs, jaffa cakes, whatever.
I think so, yeah.
You don't sort of think, right, I'm going to eat, I don't know, broccoli instead. No, what you do is you make your own cookies. So I whip up oatmeal, oats and raisins, a little bit of coconut syrup or raw honey, a few chia seeds to get some good fat and protein in there, a little bit of butter, egg, bit of water, mix it up, chuck it in the oven. So you've got your own homemade, low on the glycemic index, not processed, lower in gluten. Oats, you free oats, but oats are generally there in the gluten anyway. So it's about doing the swap. You want a dessert, I don't know, bread and butter pudding, right? There's nothing about that's going to be healthy, but you can take some ripe bananas, chop them up, saute them in a bit of coconut oil, a little bit of butter, with some honey or some coconut syrup, and you've got that sort of warm, comforting, gooey sweetness that is a lot healthier for you than the bread and pudding.
No, that makes sense. I think people don't realize when you're making something from scratch, you know what's in it. You've actually put the products in it, and there's something very satisfying about when you cook something you make and you eat, and you do it healthily and you feel good about it. And you can always tell. I'm a big spinner. I have a spinning bike. I know when I'm eating healthier, sleeping, looking after myself, because my exercise routine changes. what I can do, my sustainability of exercise, and how I feel when I wake up in the morning. It tells me everything, you know. As a woman, and I can only speak for being a woman, every month we go through something, and our body is under a lot of pressure. And I'm always wondering what the best things to eat when we are either on our monthlies or pregnant, because that's what will happen, as you know, from women. Is there a different type of routine? Do we have to increase, because we're obviously eating for 2 people, and being on our monthlies, our bodies are changing. I find that I can be at my weakest at that time when I'm, you know, in my monthlies. Is there anything I could, or anyone listening, what is good for us at that time to eat and to look after ourselves?
In all things, I think people really have to see somebody that knows them, that they can sit down and have a dedicated conversation, because hormones are just very, you know, they've got to be really finely tuned. But I think, I mean, this is sort of slightly dull, because the answer is always the same for everything. So whether you're trying to deal with skin issues, whether you're trying to deal with weight issues, whether you're boosting your immunity, it's nearly always the same. And it's in balance and getting your body in a strong state as possible. So, you know, proper nutrition, delicious nutrition, again, you know, plant-based foods, a little bit of good quality protein from whatever source that works. But you know, some really good fats, avocados, nuts. Don't be and obviously staying incredibly well hydrated. I think people, we don't, especially in this sort of, you know, you live in the city, you're not growing your own food, you're not necessarily all of your own food all the time. I believe in supplementation. So of course, depending on what you're going through at the time, what your particular issues are, you might want to think about supplementation. There are a few things that I do all the time. I take a really good amino acid formula. I take an omega-3 formula. At the moment, I'm taking a bit more vitamin C for immunity. Also, vitamin C is great at boosting our own collagen production. And collagen, when you think about your face, think about the scaffolding that keeps everything up.
I like that.
What you really want to focus on. The odd fine line, that's just life. I call them signs of our humanity.
I love that.
But it's when the whole scaffolding falls down, it's becoming a little bit of a problem. So, you know, boosting your scaffolding, your collagen, which, by the way, by the time you're 40, you have about 40% of the collagen that you were born with, that you started off with. So
really, wow.
I also take an in collagen, actually, in my smoothie. So I think, you know, it's about, there are certain things that work for everyone, and sometimes you might want to up that depending on the stress that you're getting.
That's really interesting. You've given, ladies and gentlemen, she's given us some gems today, because a lot of things you hear, but you know, you're putting it in such a great way so it makes sense. And you're talking, it's a circular effect, isn't it? It's not just food, it's well-being, it's your mindset, it's everything you need to consider to feel the best version of you. Because, you know, looking at you, you look amazing, your skin is wow. I know you're completely in a great way of eating and wellness. You've always been very relaxed and very, very relaxing to be around. And it takes a little while for people to change the way they do things. Some things can become habits, can't they? And, you know, the best habits, I would say, are to change the way you do things and how you live. And the lifestyle has to change, as opposed to just little bits here and there, isn't it?
Lifestyle has to change, but small changes, incremental changes can be. And I think what a lot of people do is they think, right, I'm going to, you know, it's like January, let me change my life in the worst month. It's all about. But adding small things every single day. So I'm the highest maintenance, low maintenance person, you know. So there's nothing invasive, no injections, no major.
Amazing.
Lots of little things every day that don't take much time and don't take much money. So tiny things that we can do every day. So if, for example, everyone thought, right, tomorrow and for the rest of my life, I'm just going to get up, the very first thing I'm going to do is stretch over, because my heart's being crunched up, right?
Yeah.
Actually proven to support long-term heart health by literally just stretching out your heart, hanging your head heavy, touching the floor, getting as close to the floor as possible. Breathing in, on the outward breath, you move down further towards the floor, and you'll find that you should be on the floor. And that might be easy for some people. They might even be able to touch their head with the floor, and then come up one vertebra at a time, slowly, slowly, slowly. If you just did that for the rest of your life from tomorrow, you're going to support your health. If you then you go and buy yourself a copper tongue scraper, really inexpensive thing. Before you do anything, before you drink, you literally just scrape your tongue where all the toxins you've been detoxing overnight. You're then going to give yourself a little bit of an immunity boost. You can support your. You then have a tall glass of water before. A lot of people have coffee or tea before anything. You have your glass of cleanse and hydrate, and you know, put your body in more of an alkaline state. If you just do those three things every day, now all that's taken a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Will have supported your long-term health. And that's how I approach health and wellness. Now, I probably do about 15 things every day, but they're all, it's a minute here, 30 seconds there, 5 minutes there, 2 minutes there.
That's amazing. I know the audience, they've been writing down notes, and everyone's going to be everywhere in London and out of London in America, they're going to be doing this thing in the morning and doing the breathing, because it's important. How you start your day is so important to how your day, am I wrong? Literally.
One of the other things that I always say to my clients is they really need to try and own the very first and the very last hour of their days. So the phone, the blue light is coming at you all day long, most of us, and especially now, we're all on it more, and for many positive reasons, both for social connections and business, because of what's going on in the world. But we have to have a cut-off time. So I have on my phone, I have a blackout time, which means, so 10 o'clock, I can't go on my phone. Well, I can override it, of course, but you feel pretty stupid to flick through social. You're only going to do if it is something really important. I try not to look at it after 9, but certainly 10 o'clock, that is it. That's the worst case scenario. So that means I typically go to bed 11-ish. So that means I have at least an hour, but usually 2 or 3 hours between screen time and sleep time, which means it's going to support my sleep. Deeper, more regenerative sleep means better everything from metabolism to mood to skin. When you wake up in the morning, a lot of people, first of all, they have the phone on the bedside table, got to be out of the room. If you live on your own, for security reasons, you want it on, fine, but don't have it inside your bedroom. Have it outside the door, have it in another room, depending on your setting. Don't have it in your bedroom. And don't pick it up the first thing, because what immediately happens, that blue light comes at you, and your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone, automatically goes up, because it's all stressful, right? So don't whether it's an overnight work email, whether it's all stressful, even if it's exciting.
It's true.
So have that time to meditate, even if it's just a couple of minutes, to stretch, to move, to do your tongue scraping, do your water, and a load of other things that you might want to do. And then pick up your phone. And for most of us, there isn't.
Do the complete opposite, don't we?
But at least half an hour, at least make it not the first thing you do.
I love that. And I think I am guilty as charged. I think from the beginning, I mean, I do start my day quite happy. I'm a very happy person, but I do need to break some really bad habits, because I'm a workaholic. I'm always working, always on the phone, or something's happening. But hearing what you said, it really would enhance even more what I do in my day. I've got a good structure and I'm keeping to it. But you're right, I almost become a slave to this thing we call social media, or the phone, or the email. Sometimes you just let it go and start your day differently. So I'm going to take on a lot of what you said, and I'm sure people listening are going to think about their mornings. If they've got a family, obviously the baby might come and not, wake you up. It happens, doesn't it? But I think we still need to find some time for ourselves. You hear mothers, that's the only time they go in the bathroom is they can close the door for a bit to have that little detune. I love what you said. I think it's really important. Really important. And what do you think nuggets of success? I've seen you as a very successful lady. I think you've been doing your health and nutrition coaching for many years, travel around the world. You have loads of great clients. What was your nuggets? What kept you in this industry for this amount of time and to the point where you've launched your own brand? Well, what would you say to someone who wanted to embark on this in this season? People are thinking about their passion and their purpose. What would you say to them?
Well, I think, thank you for those kind words. I mean, I think first something, I mean, I was driven by my own issues, right? So first of all, it's kind of, you know, it's something that seemed very negative that really, you know, caused me a lot of distress when I was a child. In many ways has now shaped me in a very positive way because I was inspired to deal with my own health issues. So, you know, sort of think about, sometimes it isn't the seemingly positive. Sometimes it can be something that's a need in your own need that can actually serve you and serve other people. And then, of course, it's got to be something you really love. So I created, when in terms of the brand, in terms of 79 Lux, I really love all the products, and I was on a mission to create the best products that I had ever used. I'm not saying they're the best I had ever used. So stand by them because you can't please everyone all the time, but I'm able to stand by them and be really passionate about them because of that. And the other thing is a little bit of ignorance, to be honest, because own just and complicated certain things were, I might not have done it. So I think of what you don't know. If you do, you know, obviously I had the core knowledge and passion and belief in what I did and my products. So, you know, you've got the belief, you've done the training, you've got the education, you've got the passion, that's great. But don't be so scared of the things you don't know, because quite often they serve you too, because you just, right? Sometimes they just go for it because they haven't yet learnt to be inhibited. So they just, you know, don't be too worried about what you don't know. And the other thing is, just begin. Just begin. Say, well, you need this and you need that and you need them. Just begin. Because yes, it would be amazing to have the, you know, CFO and the huge investment and the long-term plan. It would be amazing to have all that stuff. But you might be able to do it if you don't. But you certainly would never be able to do it if you don't just begin.
I love that. I think, ladies and gentlemen listening, I think a lot of us, and you know, it talks about a lot of people limit their own self. They don't give themselves the chance. As you said, they want everything to be packaged. You know, you think of every career or every venture you've gone into, if you was to really stop and not make sure it was literally prettily packaged and everything was working in order, you would never move forward. And as you're moving forward, you're meeting amazing people that actually help you along the way, and you're learning about your journey along the way. And I love that. Just begin. I love that.
Exactly.
I really love that. I love that. And where can, because you've got some nuggets, I'm pretty sure, and I'm hoping people on the listening will want to engage with you. How can they find you? Where can they get your beautiful cosmetics, your creams and things like that? Where can they connect with you?
Well, Karen Cummings Palmer on Instagram, of course, and I do, you know, give out information, and if I give bespoke consultations, so they can email me, they can find me at KarenCummingsPalmer.com. I'm so easy to find, and then the brand is at 79lux.com. And I do have a special code for your guests, Rene.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Which is 10% off their first order for the next month. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's 79lux.com and Rene in caps 10 at checkout.
Wonderful. I'll definitely put that, and I'll add that actually to this link. So Rene, all caps 10. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. It's so nice to catch up. I can't wait. You'd have to have a tipple or two, or we used to see each other at so many events, and it feels really surreal, isn't it? But we are going to see each other soon, no doubt. I would love to catch up.
Something in the diary as soon as we can. And I just want to say, Rene, thank you for being such an inspiration.
God bless you.
Amazing talent inspires us all and gives us all joy. And you are one of the examples of somebody that is, I believe, as dedicated to being a good human being as to being
Get
craft.
me emotional. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, bless you. Get me all choked up. I'm not used to that. I'm used to loving people saying things. It gets me all overwhelmed. Thank you. I'm just, as this platform was created, in February, I released my single and I thought, wow, spent a lot of money on the campaign. And I said, no, I'm not going to make it about myself. I have to share some amazing people. And, you know, how many months later, I've just been interviewing some incredible individuals. So I really wanted my platform to be for purpose, and it's worked out that way, having you on here and many other beautiful people. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And, you know, all the people listening, definitely connect with Karen. You know, as she said, just begin. Whatever you have in your heart, whatever your passion is, go for it. A lot of us are having limitations on our life, and don't let that stop you. Go for it. This is the time now to dig deep. You know, use this as a catapult to move forward. But thank you so much for coming on my program. I'm so very grateful.
Take care.
I will do. And we'll catch up soon. God bless you. Bye, Karen. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks, everyone, joining. Take care.